High-voltage photography captured this image of a partially severed leaf. Despite the missing physical fragment, the coronal discharge reveals a luminous, complete energetic outline of the entire structure. This phenomenon, known as the phantom leaf effect, suggests that an energetic boundary exists prior to and independently of the physical structure it contains. In the framework developed by physicist and healer Barbara Ann Brennan, the physical body acts as a secondary manifestation, a precipitation from an unseen, pre-existing matrix. Physical illness represents the final, downstream symptom of a structural distortion within this underlying energetic framework. This surrounding grid, the human energy field, functions as a highly specific, mechanically rigid architecture with distinct anatomy and physiology. Understanding this holistic view of pathogenesis requires reverse engineering this architecture across 4 distinct dimensions, tracing the path from the deepest creative source to the physical body. Mapping this multi-dimensional anatomy transforms abstract psychological trauma and spiritual intent into quantifiable mechanics of health and disease. The deepest dimension is the core star. Energy flows outward, manifesting the Auric level's vertical axis. It's anchored by 3 points: the ID point for incarnation reason, the soul seat for spiritual longing, and the Tantien for the will to live. This dimension acts as the structural blueprint dictating a person's overriding life purpose. A mechanical disconnect or misalignment at any of these 3 Auric nodes stalls creative energy before it ever reaches the personality. This energetic stalling results in deep, systemic spiritual pain, serving as a root cause for downstream physical pathology. Perfect alignment along this Auric axis is the necessary precursor for the formation of a healthy physical body. Resting entirely upon the Auric foundation is the next dimension outward, the auric field. The auric field is a matrix of 7 layers. Odd-numbered layers, 1, 3, 5, and 7, are structured as rigid standing light grids, acting as geometric templates. Even-numbered layers, 2, 4, and 6, are unstructured fluid bioplasma carrying emotional and psychological data. This lower triad maps specific experiences. Level 1 governs physical sensation, Level 2 holds fluid emotional feelings, and Level 3 contains rigid rational grids. When emotional pain is suppressed, the fluid bioplasma in Level 2 stops flowing and stagnates. This stagnant fluid physically squeezes and distorts the rigid grid of Level 3, generating distorted negative thought forms. This stagnant, undercharged life force was documented by Wilhelm Reich, who referred to the phenomenon as dead orgone energy, or DOR. Chronic mental distortions are often the result of mechanical pressure from adjacent, stagnant emotional bioplasma. Level 4 identifies the relational bridge connecting the physical and mental lower triad to the spiritual higher triad. Level 4 processes interactions with others. When dysfunctional, it accumulates a dark, heavy fluid known as auric mucus. The higher triad begins at Level 5, the rigid blueprint of divine will. This layer appears as empty space carved into cobalt blue light. Level 6 is the unstructured, high-frequency bioplasma of spiritual love, radiating out in opalescent beams. The outermost layer, Level 7, is the golden grid of divine mind, an incredibly strong, egg-like protective shell that holds the entire auric field intact. Through downward templating, each rigid higher level acts as the pattern for a corresponding lower level. Level 7 templates Level 3, and Level 5 templates Level 1. Health requires unbroken communication between these flawless spiritual templates and the dense lower physical matrices. Distribution of energy occurs along the central vertical axis of the field through the function of the chakras. Chakras function as literal metabolic intake organs, vortices that pull ambient environmental energy into a central vertical power current. Each chakra metabolizes specific frequencies and funnels them directly to adjacent physical nerve plexuses and vital organs. Dysfunction in a chakra starves the corresponding physical organ of vital energy, compromising the immune system and precipitating disease. This dysfunction is primarily caused by frozen psychic time conglomerates. Repressing a severe psychological trauma physically stops the flow of bioplasma. instantly freezing that emotional event in time within the auric field. This frozen mass chronically distorts the adjacent standing light grid, generating a rigid behavioral defense mechanism called the mask self. Maintaining the mask self diverts immense amounts of vital energy away from the core star and the chakras. Severe physical illness directly correlates to the metabolic energy wasted in defending these frozen traumas. This composite view shows the full systemic architecture: the central core star, the vertical heric axis, the 7 auric layers, and the spinning chakras feeding the physical form. Physical illness marks the terminal symptom of upstream energetic gridlock. Healing requires mechanically unfreezing bioplasmic time conglomerates and realigning the structure light grids, moving past the scope of simple chemical intervention. Realignment can be triggered by external forces, specifically by planetary frequencies like the Schielen resonance. A healer phase synchronizes their own brainwaves to the Earth's 7.8 Hz magnetic pulse. EEG, or electroencephalograph, measurements are used to monitor these brainwave rhythms. This chart shows that during the healing process, the patient's brainwaves eventually entrain to match the healer's 7.8 Hz alpha rhythm. This specific frequency acts as an alternating magnetic pulse that shatters frozen bioplasma and allows rigid templates to snap back into correct alignment. Absolute health is achieved when these defense systems are dismantled, allowing the uninterrupted flow of creative energy from the core star to the physical plane. Ultimately, the human body operates as a porous, multidimensional antenna, constantly precipitating physical reality from the invisible architecture of consciousness.